Welcome to the Cicero Regular Town Board Meeting, Wednesday, February 14th, 2024, 6:30 PM. Happy Valentine's Day. If you would, please silence your cell phone and note that there are two emergency exits in the rear of the room and one to my right. If you would, please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing and remember those who are serving in harm's way. Thank you. Anybody like to speak on behalf of any agenda items before we start our meeting? If not, we'll start with Councilor Hogan.
Move for the adoption of a resolution to approve or accept abstract number 5 dated 1/31/24, abstract number 6 dated 2/7/24, and abstract number 7 dated 2/14/24.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain, passed. This is a public hearing for building moratorium for the South Shore of Oneida Lake. And at this time, I wish to waive the reading of the legal notices that were posted and advertised at the proper time.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
At this time, I'll open up the public hearing, which is 6:32 PM. Do you want to speak on behalf of this, John, at all?
Yeah, so the text of moratorium has been posted. Note this moratorium is in an area that's I don't have a copy of it here. Thank you. Well, I don't have the entire thing. It's basically a quadrangle that's composed where the north side of it is the shore of Oneida Lake. The east side of it is the Onondaga County, Madison County line. The south side of it is Route 31, and the west side of it, thank you. The west side of it is South Bay Road, also including the parcels adjacent to the south side of Route 31, and also an area bound west of South Bay Road, bounded by Whiting Road and Lakeshore Road. Notably, this moratorium excludes all residential parcels, 1 acre or less, and it also does not prohibit site plans, building permits, and special use permits that are ancillary to or consistent with an existing use. So if someone in this area has a marina and they need to build a pole barn, this would not affect them at all. So the real point of this is to sort of push the pause button on this critical part of Cicero to give us more time to complete our comprehensive plan, to look at the possibility of a new zoning overlay district, and also to consider whether or not the design standards that we previously approved should be applied in that area, or if perhaps modified versions of them or different design standards should be in that area instead. The thinking of those of us who supported this was that this is really one of the most unique parts of Cicero. It sets us apart from the other large peer-sized towns in this county. That there is a lot of potential there, but that we need to protect the resources we have there and also protect those living in that area by ensuring that whatever development does occur there is well planned, well coordinated, and high quality. So this is a 6-month moratorium, which can be lifted by the town board or extended by the town board. There is also a provision in there allowing people to apply for an exception for good cause to the town board.
Okay.
I just like pointing out again that the majority of the people who reside or own property in this area have the residential parcels. So the vast majority of people and parcels in this area will be unaffected.
Does anyone like to come up and speak on behalf or against? State your name and your address, please.
No.
Green light or no, that's red. There you go.
There we go. No, just a quick question, clarifying where it says on the west, the center line of South Bay Road, does that go all the way down to Burton because of the shoreline?
The west boundary of it is the map. The west boundary of it is the South Bay Road where South Bay Road ends at Lakeshore Road. And then
Right.
from that point, it just goes north from a point from the center line, the intersection of the center line of Lakeshore and the center line of South Bay to the shoreline. So it would not go all the way to Brewerton. It would end right in that like marina thing that's at the end of.
Oh, and the South Bay?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so it doesn't go further west?
Nope.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
My name is Jamie Party. I live at 5980 Schnelly Road, Brewerton, New York. With this proposal, the first question I have comes to mind is why commercial and why just Lakeshore, residents in that particular area, not the whole town? It's been brought up several times during meetings that I've come here and listened to people bring up, why not put moratoriums more across the town? Because we all know we're working on a comprehensive plan. So why not do the whole town and not just this one particular section? From an outsider point of view, as a resident of the town of Cicero, narrowing it down to one section and not protecting the rest of the town of Cicero, it kind of almost gives us an impression as a resident that we're targeting one specific area. And I don't know why we would specifically target one area when we have a whole town with a lot of ability to develop. Now, in the event that, say, there's something future planned, because I know there has been some plans in that area, and we're trying to vet that out. If you look at Agenda 5, which creating new zoning districts for specific types of buildings and stuff like that, I don't know why wouldn't take that approach to vet things out that we don't want in the town. And I understand what you're trying to do is good for the town, probably, in the potential someone's trying to build something, maybe we're trying to cut it off. But I just feel that during the comprehensive plan, several people have emphasized access to the lake. You're taking out a huge section that does have one of them has a potential for community access to the lake, the old Boreos. So if someone wanted to develop Boreos in this time and wanted to come here and give us a nice place to go back to and sit on a patio and enjoy a hamburger or a nice steak dinner or whatever, while we sit, and enjoy the lake, you're taking that away at this time.
I think this allows something like that to happen if.
Well, they could apply for relief from the moratorium. To address your first point, there were several people on the board at the time, composition was not identical, that at the time that we passed a comprehensive plan favored a townwide moratorium. I was opposed to it. It seemed heavy-handed, continues to seem heavy-handed. But if you look, one of the findings that we made, number 8, was that because we've already applied design standards to most of the developed areas of the town that are outside of this moratorium area, which means that the comprehensive plan committee and our staff and that is working with them and our consultant have already taken like a good look at the zoning rules and regulations that area might be appropriate. To me, as the person who drafted this, and I know I've discussed it with other members of the board, it seems like it might be unduly burdensome since the comprehensive plan process has already taken a good look at those areas. Whereas while some undeveloped portions of the moratorium area have had the design standards applied, the part of 31 that's included in this is pretty undeveloped compared to the rest of 31. This is an area, I mean, really, it's a beautiful, again, it sets us apart. Like, this is something that Cicero really has that is unique that we should be using to our advantage. I agree with you that access to the lake is very important. I think that, it's great we have Williams Beach. People go there. We don't have lifeguards anymore. It's great that also Oneida Shores exists, but access to the lake is, I don't have to tell you, very expensive. I'm
on the committee.
Yeah.
And that was one of the
Yeah,
biggest
right.
things
Yeah.
that
So you get
everybody
it. So yeah, that's right. I should have thought of that. As far as, if someone wanted to develop Boreos, certainly they could come and make an application to us, or if the owner wanted to do something, they could come and make an application to us. The purpose of this is just to prevent development that might otherwise have to be approved more or less because something's zoned appropriately. And one of the things, I mean, when you look at agenda item 5, which we're gonna have to push the public hearing, couldn't have it unfortunately tonight, back to the next meeting. That is a response really to what was coming from the county on the pilots. I'm sure you know that. Certainly there could be apartments aimed at that area, but that's more of a town-wide thing. I think that some of the most desirable area for apartments is in the area that we're talking about tonight, and this would press the pause button on that. Keep in mind also that right now under the existing code, prior to number 5 being passed, someone would need, and anybody in the rest of the town would need a zone change to RM to build apartments. If the legislation in number 5 passes, apartments will no longer be allowed in RM. That will be smaller multifamily. So we do have a measure of control over where apartment complexes will go between now and when that legislation is passed. Whereas I think the only large undeveloped RM parcel in the entire town right now, where you could theoretically put apartment buildings under the current zoning, is in the moratorium area. So
Does this cover on the south side of Route 31 by the Alex Lyons Farms?
it covers all parcels adjacent or contiguous to the south side of 31. So,
We'll have a map.
well, we're going to put up a map. Yeah, I was talking to Mr. Procopio. We're going to have a detailed map that will show the entire area. Yes.
Yeah. So the biggest part, my question was, is a lot of the moratoriums are overlooked that people had brought up, and now we're going to do one area and not protect the whole town. And
Is there a
moratoriums.
specific area that you're concerned about that you want us to take a look at?
No, but like, let's talk about the solar farms. You know, people talked about putting a moratorium when all these solar farms were popping up, wanting to go everywhere, and it was ignored and kind of overlooked. But now,
No, we had a moratorium.
yeah, we still popped up solar farms.
The one that was applied, I think. I don't remember how.
I sat on the planning board and we rejected like 3 or 4 this year.
I know you
So,
you
yeah,
rejected two, and then,
yeah.
you know, that one.
We're on board with you with that.
We had a moratorium on solar, I believe, for like a year, wasn't it? A year, a little bit
And then
over
we
a year?
passed a special use permit
exactly.
legislation, that additional zoning legislation that made it virtually impossible to get.
And as one of those people on the previous board, I did want a full townwide moratorium. When the changes came out with the yeah, thanks, John.
Yeah.
With the design standards, that's when I said, okay, now with this moratorium, those design standards didn't touch it. So to me,
Yeah.
it technically is doing the same thing.
Yeah, I know.
So, yeah.
And then you're saying that you wanted a moratorium to stop people from doing what they want to do on their property. But also on one specific solar farm that I'm talking about, you stood up and said that you would never tell anybody what they can or can't do on their property. So I mean, that was kind of, to me, that's a little contradicting, but that's another road we can cross at another time.
Well, we're in the middle of a comprehensive plan now, so
Right.
there's the difference.
Yeah. But we'll leave it at that.
Thank you. Anyone
Thank
else?
you.
Yeah.
Chet Zinsky, 7169 Allen Road. This area that you're talking about, I believe, is where I live. Is that correct? Do you continue all the way over to Allen Road? You mentioned on the south side of 31.
Only the properties contiguous to the south side of 31. So if your property's not touching the south, if you're south of 31 and your property's not touching it, then no.
Well, there's one thing I'd like to point out to each and every one of you. This is the last area of the entire town that is still agricultural. The government in the past, different boards, different times, have gobbled up exactly almost every single acre of area within this town to put something in, even if they jammed it in, just like down the street that they do down here on a regular basis. You know, you can't get in the Home Depot and buy a nail.
Yeah.
You wait in line because of people going in the other two. Those.
Yeah.
That's what happens in this town. Nobody seems to think about that. And I think it's about time you start thinking about reserving green area within the town, because eventually it's going to be gone. And we're going to sit here and we're going to talk about, oh my God, we don't have a place to go for a green area. We don't have any local products for the produce. That's what you have to start thinking about. You can build all you want, but we'll think a little bit further ahead. Don't have tunnel vision. Think about the future, because once you gobble it up, it's gone forever.
I don't disagree with you. And that was one of the reasons why, keeping in mind that the prior solar legislation allowed the tier 3, the large farms, to be sited in any district, preserving green space and protecting agricultural land is part of the reason why I drafted the legislation, which created the new commercial solar district, which did not, and to my knowledge, still does not exist in the town, because anyone that wants to build a tier 3 has to get a zone change first. And one of the things we would look at is, and as his own changes, you know well from your time in town government, we could look at what the compatibility with the surrounding use, the need to preserve agricultural space and to preserve the character of the town. And that characteristic, even if someone gets to the zone change, is another thing that we need to consider as part of the special use permit. So I grew up sort of, I mean, you know, I'm from Hiller Heights, like that sort of was at one point at the edge of Cicero. I mean, I didn't that far from Island Road and from being able to buy pumpkins and corn from people like yourself. And so I didn't grow up in the middle of a dense suburb. I grew up kind of on the edge of it. I share some of your concerns. I don't like seeing development on Northern Boulevard, even though I recognize that it's inevitable. So I share your concerns, and I don't, if what's behind your comments is the fact that your area is not included in the moratorium, please don't think that it's a result of us not caring about preserving green space or the agricultural character of Cicero, because speaking for myself, and I think I feel comfortable speaking for the rest of the board, that's certainly not the case. We do care about that.
No, the solar project that was brought up a few minutes ago last year was in part to help preserve that
actually was- that
agricultural
one was
property.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, we don't want to see, at least I don't want to see farms and properties like yours surrounded by by acres and acres and acres of solar farms.
I'm not worried about the solar farms because I really believe they aren't going to come. You
Hope
just
not.
talked about having apartments and things of that sort.
Well, in the legislation that I'm drafting and that we'll be voting on next time is going to create, similar to what we did for solar, an entirely new zoning district, and apartment complexes and similar developments will only be allowed in that new district, which currently does not exist. So anyone that wants to build a multifamily apartment complex subsequent to the passing of that legislation will need a zone change. In apartment complexes, which we're still playing with the definition, but probably more than 2 buildings, are also going to require a special use permit. It's going to be difficult, not impossible, difficult for us to build apartment complexes in Cicero. And that is going to be by design because we want to be able to have better control over where these things get built. And also, if there are going to be tax breaks associated with them, we want to have control over whether, or we want that to be one of the factors that we can consider and whether or not there is a possibility to have any other sort of source of funds offset those tax breaks, which we have no control over, as you know. So, you know, if you're concerned that this legislation that I'm referring to is to make it easier to build apartment complexes, quite the opposite. It's going to make it more difficult.
My concern is make sure you don't gobble up what's left of the green area on the entire east end of the town.
I do not want to see that happen, and I don't intend.
But bit by bit, it's gone away.
I share your passion in that. So, and anyone who's ever listened to me talk during the planning board, it's brought up every single time. So I share your passion in that. And I think the reason why I'm for this is because this is going to start to set a precedence that we're not going to rush any decision making and that we're going to take things into account, such as what you've said tonight. So we're in complete agreement with you
Yeah, I guess
on that.
well said. And the other thing I would say is one of the factors we will be considering with future projects is going to be the aesthetic quality amount of green space, because when things do get built, we don't want it to look like a monolithic. We don't want it to look like a city. Okay, if something does get built, we want it to fit in with the character of the surrounding of land. So it's certainly not my intent to ever see all that land get gobbled up, and I don't think any of us intend that.
Start checking into your water systems too, because you don't have sufficient water out in that entire area. I'm sure you've heard about that already.
Yes.
Before you get yourself in trouble.
Thank you for your comments. Always appreciate them. Sure. Public hearing.
I didn't state my name last time either. Brought up a recollection for me when you talk about these apartments. And I am really glad to see this situation here. And if any of you have not gone and looked at Loso Apartments on Mud Mill Road and Lakeshore Road, I'll tell you something. 240 units that destroyed a beautiful marina, a beautiful area for, it could have been a park or whatever. But the cause of the flooding and the disruption of that neighborhood, the lights are so bright that anybody that has skylights in their house now has daylight 24/7. So it's really a sad thing, and I'm glad to see because of this particular area, plus the fact that I live on the lake and retaining trees. If we don't have any more trees, we won't have any more oxygen, so we don't have to worry about it because none of us will be able to breathe.
You can go. You
Hey,
go, then
Judy, I want people to remember you, me, and John, what was it, 3 years ago now?
4,
4 years ago?
yeah.
We were the first step, right, of what we're seeing now when it comes
Oh,
to the
yeah.
apartments. Yeah.
That
Want to make
is,
sure that isn't overlooked. And you could probably talk a little more.
Well, I was just going to say, you know, and that actually dovetails nicely with what I was saying to Mr. Dudzinski. So I'd like to have seen something else there. But if there were going to be apartments in that site, the density there is such that it's taken a beautiful piece of land and spoiled it. I mean, spoiled is really the right way to put it, which is one of the things we want to look at, because when these things do get built, we don't want to see as much as possible jammed in there with lights that are going to cause light pollution, so you can stand in your front yard in the middle of the night and read a newspaper. So that's the kind of thing we want to prevent. We don't want to see that happen in Cicero again. And with this, we're not voting on tonight, but with legislation, hopefully we'll be voting on next week. We'll be able to stop that from happening.
Probably good that the OSIDA thing came up, right?
Yeah, I mean, really, you know,
it was more vigilant about the
it did, yes, because
we got going on.
yeah, it's a step that we should have, that certainly has been long overdue. But I agree with you. I've driven by that a couple times and certainly also very different from the gorgeous luxury high end that I was never in support of it anyway, but that was
Well,
promised. It's
obviously
very
we weren't,
different.
But, well, it's people, some people say, oh, they're beautiful. Well, no, they're new.
Exactly. I was just going to say they're new.
They're new,
shiny
they're
and
not
new.
beautiful, they're new. And just cramming 240 units into about 10 acres. And the fact that they advertise it as Waterview
Oh, I think what, less than
or
10
waterfront,
20%?
waterfront.
But like less than 10 or 20% of those apartments even have water view. is
Only
my
the
understanding.
ones in the front down toward, and then that property right now, they have no control over the marina or anything because they don't have DEC permits or anything yet. So,
It's a waste. It really is. It's a waste
It's
of
a
it's a
shame.
waste of a beautiful piece of property. Yeah.
and affordable units that start at 16 a month, maybe 18.
That's low end for rent nowadays from what
Oh, I
hear.
know,
Yeah.
but
The rent's like 24 to 28.
I know that in the beginning, they were 16.
Oh,
Now
yeah,
they're almost
yeah.
3.
Yep.
Ridiculous. Thank
It
you.
is. Thank you.
I just remember the legislation that, again, us three voted on with the pilot. I remember we denied the pilot
Yep.
and they
The
said
vote again, yep.
they couldn't build, and they did.
Well, I said at the public hearing, I said they've already put too much into this. They're building it. They just want to make more money on it.
Anyone else? No? Okay. That means anybody else on the board? No?
No?
We'll close the public hearing at 7:52. 6:52.
Scared me for a second. It is Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Okay. We'll move on to the seeker, which is a type 2 action. Move for the adoption resolution to consider a moratorium on a commercial development in the area on the near the south shore of Oneida Lake.
Or we do it as a seeker.
I don't have the seeker. We have a seeker?
We
No.
don't need a seeker for moratorium?
Type 2 action, yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. So you just move the actual
Yep.
legislation, right?
Yep, go ahead.
All right. Second.
Discussion.
The only thing I would add is that this was referred to county planning pursuant to General Municipal Law, Section 239-M, and they came back with no negative. We can make this part of the record, Ms. Cosselman. Came back with no negative, they did not recommend against it, said we were free to proceed with it.
And learning further about some of the things that are on, what are happening in the areas per se. I'd support this, action tonight. So, okay.
Sure.
Go ahead. Ready?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any wish to vote no or abstain? Passed. Who's next? John, you're next.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, I move the adoption resolution to set a public hearing for February 28th, 2024 at 6:30 PM to consider changes to chapter 210 of the town code in relation to zoning districts. The purpose of these changes is to create a new zoning district for large multifamily developments and to modify existing zoning districts as necessary.
Second.
Discussion.
I just say, so when we set the public hearing for this, I was unaware, I think all of us up here, the Post Standard no longer publishes on Fridays or Saturdays. And state law still requires publication in a newspaper, even though, as we all know, that's a dying medium. And so it was not possible for us to provide the adequate notice as required to vote on this tonight. So that's why we're rescheduling it for the next meeting.
Perfect. Okay. Yep, you got it. All in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain? Passed.
Set a public hearing for Wednesday, February 28th, 2024 for sewer extension. Move for the adoption resolution that the town board sets a public hearing for Wednesday, February 28th, 2024 at 6:30 PM at Cicero Town Hall, 8236 Brewerton Road, Cicero, New York, to approve sewer district contract number 6 associated with the proposed dental office on South Bay Road dated October 2023 as prepared by LJR Engineering PC.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain? Passed.
Set a public hearing for Wednesday, February 28th, 2024 for Water District Extension. Move to adoption resolution. The town board sets a public hearing for Wednesday, February 28th, 2024 at 6:30 PM, Cicero Town Hall, 8236 Brewerton Road, Cicero, New York, to approve water petition plan and description titled Island Road Water District Extension Number 1 associated with grasshopper storage on Island Road, dated February 7th, 2024, as prepared by Ian Romans, PC.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain? Passed.
Move for the adoption of a resolution to amend the expiration date from 12/31/24 to 9/30/24 for the reappointment of Karen Purdy as Board of Ethics Chair.
Second.
Wait, is that correct? Should we be, is it supposed to be reversed from 9:30 to 12:31? It's supposed to be 9:30.
Right, correct.
Okay, all right. We went back and forth on this. I apologize. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain? Passed.
Move for the adoption of a resolution to amend the expiration date from 12/31/25 to 12/31/24 for the reappointment of Christopher Daniel ad hoc member for the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain? Passed.
Move for the adoption of a resolution to approve T.H. Kinsella for the purchase of runner crush for drainage and pipe jobs in the amount of $20,000. Budget code 003-5110-4553-0000.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain? Passed.
Move for the adoption of a resolution to approve Sunnycrest Concrete for the purchase of catch basins for drainage projects in the amount of $12,000. Budget code 003-5110-4551-0000.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain? Passed.
Thank you.
Move for the adoption of a resolution that the Cicero Town Board approves the appointment of Paul Wellink
Well,
to the Town of Cicero Parks and Rec Commission with a term to expire on 12/31/32.
Second.
discussion.
32?
It's supposed to be 30.
Yeah,
It just, 32 looks like a weird.
that's why I said it slow. I was like 32.
All in favor?
Aye.
I remember when
Vote no or
2024 looked far out.
Wish to vote no or abstain? Pass.
Move for the adoption of a resolution that the Cicero Town Board approves for AAA Quick Plows and Lawns and Company as the lowest bidder to provide 3 years of mowing services for the town's 5 cemeteries at a cost of $12,160 for 2024, $12,485 for 2025, and $13,075 for 2026. Budget code 001-8810-4000-0000.
Second.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain? Passed.
Move for the adoption of a resolution to approve an estimated expenditure of $345,000 to AstroTurf Corporation to provide the materials and labor for the installation of the new pickleball facility at Plank Road Park. Budget code 001-7110-4900-0001. AstroTurf Corporation is contracted Sourcewell vendor. $300,000 of this project will be funded by a SAM grant and the remaining to be charged to the Parks 277 Reserve Fund, which was already approved by the town board.
Second.
Discussion.
I did have a quick question on that. The volleyball court, is that going to be touched? Okay. Okay.
So this is an exciting time for the town of Cicero. I know the fee or the cost of this is pretty, it sounds pretty expensive. I was given the bill sheet for this. Some of the work we're gonna do in-house, which is gonna save us some money on this, so which is great. Anybody else?
I just have a quick question in regards to the SAM grant, when that was given. I probably could talk to you one off at some point, but. Mhm.
The SAM grant was given last year.
And I'd say just about a month ago, I had to provide all the budget estimates and whatever, and right now Jasmine's in the process. So we haven't technically gotten the contract that, we have to sign, but, we can, what we spend, and then so I had to move forward.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? All in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain, passed.
Award of sanitary sewer contract. Move for the adoption resolution to award the town's sanitary sewer repair contract, emergency and scheduled, to J.K. Tobin Construction Company, Inc., and approve the supervisor to sign all related documents. 2 bids were received on February 8th, 2024, with J.K. Tobin Construction Company, Inc. being the low bidder.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain, passed. Move the adoption resolution to award U.S. Route 11 streetscape improvements, Guy Young Road to Bennett Street to Barrett Paving Materials Incorporated for $2,167,436 and approve the supervisor sign all related documents. 6 bids were received on January 11th, 2024, with Barrett Paving Materials Incorporated being the low bidder.
Second.
Discussion.
Not necessarily on this item, but I know the state comptroller's office asked us to post, and this is for the last agenda item too. Yeah, we talked about this before too. If we could make sure that the other bidder is actually on the agenda, that'd be helpful. I know that was some of their feedback to us a couple of years ago.
I think it'd be good for the public, just for the sake of transparency.
We did get that in the email, I believe. That's
Oh,
okay.
yeah, no. Yeah, I think that'd be good policy moving forward for, not just for you, you know,
Excel, couple of lines in.
be an
Excel, that's
attachment or
what-
could be right in line.
Yeah, it was the reason why is because when I remember Judy probably remembers too, when under Supervisor Meyer, it was there was a state comptroller audit and they advised us to do so. So I just want to make sure we follow. Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain, passed. Move the adoption resolution to accept CNS Engineering's supplemental consultant agreement number 1 for construction inspection services in the amount of $300,000 for the U.S. Route 11 streetscape improvements, Guy Young Road to Bennett Street, and approve the supervisor sign all related documents.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain, passed.
Move for the adoption of a resolution that the Cicero Town Board accepts the retirement letter of Elke Johans as comptroller for her retirement, which shall take effect on the date of May 1st, 2024.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain, passed. Who's got some, anybody got discussion? I have some discussion. Well, this is pretty exciting stuff. We had a drainage meeting a few weeks ago. Mike was there, our highway superintendent, Kate, couple foremen, and Steve Procopio. We talked about some highway work with our superintendent. Some swale cleaning projects will be completed this year by our Cicero Highway. There's some swales behind Hawkeye Drive, swales on the north side of Lake Shore Road near Osborne Drive and Snowshoe, swale behind Hessler Farm Path, swale on the north and south of Gulfstream Road, culverts, and remove some sediment from the center line of the Horse Barn Creek. That was just added, I believe. Thanks. Thank you, Chris. So the next one, I like to call this one, 2 towns, 1 community. Several months ago, Kate and the folks from Hastings applied for a downtown revitalization grant. And then we had to present to the Empire State Development Committee at Lemoyne College. Fast forward, on the afternoon of February 1st, I received a call that both towns were recipients of the grant. And then on Monday, February 5th, as you may have seen a photo on our Facebook, that the town of Cicero and the town of Hastings received $4.5 million for the New York Forward grant from the governor. At this time, I'd like to recognize someone here tonight. And it's Kate. Thank you, Kate, for your continued commitment to helping our community thrive. Your dedication is a testament to your character and your unwavering belief in the power of our community. We are grateful for everything you do, and we look forward to continuing our journey together towards a brighter future. Additionally, I'd like to extend sincere gratitude to the residents of the Brewerton area for their impassioned dedication and support. The enthusiasm serves as a cornerstone of our revitalization endeavors, driving us closer to our shared goal of creating a vibrant waterfront community. In the next few months, we'll be starting a streetscape project in the hamlet of Brewerton. That's, I've been told, started in 2008, Chet? Is that when it was started? Somewhere around there. But so at this time, I'd like to present this to. This is what we received the other day from all the from the governor, $4.5 million check to help enhance the Brewerton area and the Hastings area. So.
Put that in the record, Mr. President.
But thank you, everyone, for your hard work and dedication to our town. Anybody else? Nope. Wish to adjourn the meeting? Anybody else? Public input? Would you like to say something? Okay. Anybody from our team here? Like, hang on, Judy, one sec.
I'd just like to promote a couple of events. We had our Banff event last week and it was very successful. So thank you to those that came out for that. We have 2 upcoming events. We have a spaghetti dinner that's going to be held on Saturday, March 9th at the Senior Center. And we also have basically it's a bunny breakfast, pancake breakfast going to be held at Applebee's on Palm Sunday. So feel free to buy tickets, and these are both fundraisers for the canteen. Thank you.
Anybody else from our team? No? Go ahead, Judy.
I've been making notes. Sorry. Interesting you guys brought up about the bidding because several people have asked and myself, as far as when the bids, where are they posted? Are they posted in the Post Standard for the open bids?
Where are these are posted, correct? Tracy, in the Star News and the Post Standard?
Yeah.
They're
advertised, and then Tracy posts them on the website, and then they're also posted through the meeting minutes. So Tracy and I just had a conversation about this and are going to update the website with that. She just added all the.
I was just gonna say,
And we
and
just
when-
did a little change on the website too. We're working on some areas where there's public hearings and you can hit on the button and it'll bring you to everything you need to have. Because I know people have talked to me about, we can't find this stuff. It's hidden somewhere. The date's not right. It's the date posted. We thought it was that date. We missed it. We're working on that.
so when we have a bid go out, it'll be posted on a website?
Correct.
There's a section that actually says bid advertisements. It is in there with the actual advertisement. And then underneath it, it'll say it's awarded and what town board meeting that town board awarded it on. And there's also a section inside the minutes that's going to actually have all the bidders' names in it. And it's easily
When the bid
accessible.
goes out, that's in
It's
there?
all in there.
And it says bid right on, first word?
Bid advertisement. And we actually have too, the advantage too, to have it go to everyone's email. And it can be publicized that way too. We post it out that way too. So, yes.
Are you
Okay.
asking, you would like to have it earlier? Is that what you're saying? So that other businesses
Well-
can be notified and maybe put a bid in on it? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Okay.
well, when a bid goes out, or a bid comes up to go out, I guess I never really knew where to find it. Because I was involved most of the time, so I knew about it. But anyway, that was a question. The Parks and Rec and the approval of a new commissioner, was that posted as an opening?
That comes from Teresa. Go ahead.
Yeah, we did. We advertised last year. I ran it for several months, we got, I think we had 2 or 3 applicants, and we had 2 vacancies. And so that was the second one to be appointed. The other one was appointed last year at the end of the year.
Okay, thank you. Of the 4.5 million, thanks for bringing that up. Is that going to go towards the $2,500,000 for the streetscapes? Is that going to help pay for that?
No, this has nothing to do with that.
And the money that we're getting for this $2,500,000, is this the one that we've got to front the money for first?
Good, Kate.
Yes, yes, we do front the money for it, but one good thing is the DOT reimburses very quickly. So as soon as that check goes out, this time to Barrett Paving Materials, the comptroller, as soon as that check is cashed, Elka gets it, the comptroller sends it into DOT. It's about a 3-week turnaround from DOT that we get reimbursed on it. Is that correct, Elka?
It was when Doug was around.
Yeah, so we anticipate that they'll, they do that. And it's about a 5-month period, so you can say we may have like an $800,000 payment. I would say would be the most, so we should get reimbursed before the next one goes out, but we'll have to be right on the ball.
But we gotta borrow it first.
No, we're not borrowing it.
We're bonding it.
No, we have the money.
Oh. 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 Well, thanks for my contribution. Fortunately, it's important.
Are you excited, Judy, on this project?
No.
Okay.
I'm so glad you asked. I'm so glad you asked. Well, I was involved with it when it started right after chat. And I have pictures of in 1986, I think it is, when a guy was standing on top of the bridge talking about revitalization of Burton. So I certainly hope that we get our money back sooner than it's been going on for this project. Sorry. Okay.
We can comment on
On the
There's been
money.
Like 5 phases of
The-
that comment.
There has been, so I
We've been
think
Paid 4 of them.
Brewerton's been talked about so long, the town has this impression we've spent a ton of money on Brewerton. Actually, that, I think, I don't know under whose tenure, they got that $800,000 Schumer grant. So most of the stuff, the study that was done, the property that was bought, that was paid. There was no match to that grant. And then, so all that stuff that was done years ago was pretty much paid for by that grant. And then we've gotten new grants for Riverfront Park. About 100,000 came from remaining Schumer grant. The rest, we got an Onondaga County grant. We did probably we had like 50 grand or something into it because bid prices were higher during COVID. So I think everybody has this impression that a ton of money has been spent in Brewerton, but
How much total?
and most of it's been reimbursed, so I think I think things are going in a good direction, and it's going to be a mess for the next couple years because it's going to be a mess as they do the streetscape project, and they'll be building the temporary bridge. Then they're going to be building the new bridge. So for the next
Look,
3 summers, it's
we have
going to
to-
be a mess.
we need to invest in our community. If we don't, it's going to stay what it looks like. And if we
Understand.
don't invest in our community, it's going to be exactly the way it is.
Totally understand. Okay, but we still don't own that property, do we?
It's going to be dedicated to the town after the
Bridge.
bridge project. So right now DOT owns the property. They're going to use it for the temporary bridge, and then it becomes the town of Cicero's when the bridge project is done.
Okay. Hawkeye Swell.
We can talk to you on that stuff afterwards, Judy, if you would.
Oh, okay, because I was gonna say, we already did that, didn't we? Okay, thank you very much.
Chet, did you have something to say before we leave?
It's unfortunate that with what I did in my administration and Judy did with hers, there were town boards between Judy and up until just before some of you were on the board that did absolutely nothing for Berwick. Nothing. They'd sit up there, they'd make a lot of speeches, they do a lot of talking, a lot of lip service. And here we are, however long it's been, we're gonna try again. This is the 3rd.
Chet, we're not going to try. We're getting it done. When's our groundbreaking, Kate? No, it'll be in the next few months.
Are you talking about the groundbreaking before construction starts?
Yep.
That
Rich,
could
please.
probably be in about 6 weeks.
Perfect. We'll
It's
see you
like
in
a
6
about.
weeks. We should all be proud to sit up here and talk about this, that we're going to get things done. Make a motion to close the meeting.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.